Howdy, howdy. Brian here from quantlabs.net. We are talking about goals and trading ideas for 2020. It's a continuation from last week where I talked about the goals of 2019 and the lessons learned from that. So here's what was talked about last week. Crypto trading success only lasts so long. I put up these two examples for 2019. Bitcoin rises unpredictable, so it's not sure if you can really depend on that for momentum. And it is hard to stay on top of bots. Did mention that when you are in a environment, let's say in crypto, where you have a strong decline in the overall asset class, and you have a drop in volumes, it doesn't help, obviously. MotiveWave helps here to get faster discoveries made, potentially, and you'll be able to implement strategies and trading ideas much faster. I also talked about discovery of E-mini micros. Here is the minimum requirement for a contract can be $200-300, so you better have a really strong winning idea here to make a go of it. I've talked about bridging the ability to have MotiveWave crypto analysis and then bridge those same ideas with Python trading bots. I also highlighted some examples of undiscovered winners in crypto. Those always exist, and it's fine to have entries, but it's really important to have better exits. The one I've been using successfully lately is volatility stops, and I've discovered that, thankfully, to MotiveWave, and again, going through those MotiveWave discoveries. So now what we're going to talk about is the goals and trading ideas for 2020. So first of all, for the last, let's say, 2 months, I've been working a lot, learning with MotiveWave, and obviously I found the power of MotiveWave and the benefits of MotiveWave. I'm pretty excited about that and being able to, as I said, discover trading ideas with it, but also it helps to eliminate trading ideas that may not be actually that could be produced properly, or may not produce itself to be a viable trading idea, because it could be a short-term idea, it could be a temporary blip idea, it could be anything. So MotiveWave helps here, and want to continue that leverage of using that power of MotiveWave. The other thing with MotiveWave, is to reactivate the older Python scripts. I've mentioned about bridging the ability to take your trading analysis with crypto, and then because you can't trade yet with my MotiveWave for crypto, but being able to use the Python scripts I built, or you had built, but the ideas I present in a membership, so that you can then use that power to execute your trades using something like a big exchange like Binance for crypto. Also, here it's really important because for all last, or 2019, I built out quite a lot of good Python scripts for analysis for both crypto, CFD, and Forex. It's pretty deep, gives you a lot of ideas. For instance, it can give you targets for pricing, give you stop loss, take profit targets, all kinds of really cool stuff. So I want to bring that back in now that I've kind of know MotiveWave pretty good, or using it to the best of my ability for both Forex and crypto. As I said before, MotiveWave is really built for options and futures, but the funny thing is that MotiveWave can be used for these other asset classes, but the way I've seen people on videos use MotiveWave for futures, that seems to be how it's really it was incepted. Another big thing I'm looking at is MATLAB. What I'm struggling with, and I think a lot of people could be said the same about Python and coding up in machine learning libraries or frameworks like TensorFlow or PyTorch. It can be a pretty cumbersome process to come up with a potential trading idea if you get to that point. So you could go down many rabbit holes with that and still get nowhere. I can speak out of experience with just Python on its own, let alone the complexities of learning machine learning, learning the framework itself, and then struggling to come up with an idea. It's like trying to move to a foreign country. Let's say for me, like going to China, living there, and at the same time learning the language and reading the writing. You can just imagine how complicated that process would be to get to the other end, let alone if you achieve your goal. And what I find with MATLAB is there's a lot of graphical user interface or GUI tools that are available in MATLAB, built by other people, that can tremendously benefit from machine learning by, we'll call it point and click in their tools, and be able to come up with better machine learning results without needing to kill yourself to build the same type of tools. So it's all about implementation, speed of implementation of trading ideas, and that's just trading ideas. And as I said, to get something that's profitable in itself is hard. So it's a tough game. So the idea is to use MATLAB and the power of MATLAB to bring to cut a lot of that questionable stuff out. So MATLAB is an idea that I want to bring back in, but I have no idea when I'll be doing it. So as you can see here, I've divided this up into 3 sections. So that's from a technology end. Now from a trading end, like that's active trading. We have daily market caps with live trading for Forex and crypto. In that, basically what I'm meaning is that you want to meet some kind of goal, obviously, in your trading for winning or winning ratios. But as I said last week, when you do the analysis on these newer volatility stops, it will cut your trading prematurely. I've been looking at a lot of other larger, like Warrior Trader. I know about Tim Sykes, but equity stock seems to be interesting, but under $10. And they seem to be making a pretty good goal of it. I watched one video from Warrior Trader, for instance, a few days ago, and it's very doable from a programming standpoint to be able to look for stocks under $10 and apply those to a trading strategy and what they use, looking for fast moving or gappers, I guess I call them, in the early morning trades to benefit from big pops in breakouts, I guess I call it, in particular stocks. So they're always there. It's an interesting area to be part of, but you're not only limited to the US. Like I did a test using a piece of software. You can get in one of the free PDF books that showed that those exist globally, among other exchanges worldwide, and it could be in countries like Hong Kong, Singapore. When you're trading at night locally in my time, Eastern Standard, and then you also have Europe, and there's so many stocks out there that offer that, not just the U.S. So expanding that strategy that they're using, like Warrior Trader, you could probably automate it and expand it into other global areas throughout the world and take advantage of those opportunities. So it's something I'm kind of interested in. So we also talked about E-mini micro future contracts. For me, eventually I want to go into options. When you look at the volumes of crypto, has been dropping off. I like crypto for 2 big reasons. Well, 3. You could start with nothing with crypto. I personally think it's the future of transacting in the future, and you can trade 24/7, never closes. The other thing is you can get really, really big returns, like 2-3%, or even last couple of weeks, 18. I had 30% moves in a short period of time, and it's very appealing to be able to hopefully take advantage of that. And some of the trading patterns I'm discovering using something like MotiveWave to be able to take advantage of that. So crypto is very powerful in that regard, and you can start with nothing. E-mini micros are for the little guy to get interested in the futures market. But again, you still have the margin requirements. So you got to have a winning strategy that really works. You can't go in blind and test with contracts that are $200, $300 minimum. You're not. You're just gonna probably at some point bleed money if it doesn't work out. So I like to attack e-mini micros for sure, but it has to be something that's winning from the world of forex or crypto from a small tiny risk point of view. Also, currency futures, from what I'm learning in the last month or so, the most lucrative right now and will be as we move into potentially a recession or a down trend in the stock markets globally. You're going to be no different than in crypto in a falling knife environment, and it's going to be tough to make a go of it. But the currency futures is definitely really lucrative here, and it's not. I don't think it's really affected by where the economy is in terms of stock market direction, trends of the market. It's totally independent of the major indices out there, and as a result, that will always continue to have really decent opportunities. So it is most lucrative, but in the futures market for currencies, and from what I've verified, you have I think it's 5 or 6 currencies that you can trade in the e-mini micros, and this seems to be the place to be down the line. E-mini micros with the U.S. indices for stock is one thing, but as the markets will at some point have to come off, they may not be as lucrative a year from now, let's say. So that's from a trading perspective on how I see things. The other big one is trading ideas and research. This is the third topic. Obviously, I've talked about machine learning. It's basically a standard. So some form of investigation will be needed, be it machine learning for price forecasting, machine learning. I think more useful for portfolio optimization, for position sizing. That's where machine learning is going to be really, really powerful. But you do that once you start to get a really significant trading account, I think, to really take advantage of that. Again, that's where something like MATLAB probably will come into play to build more tools like that. I've got from years upon years tools like that will help down the line. Now, in terms of strategies, I've been really focusing on the last little while more momentum, trend-based, trend-following type of strategies. So one area would like to look at, especially as things get more volatile, I think mean reverting strategies will be more important for next year as volatility will kick in. I just heard they predict for the first 6 months of 2020 it will be pretty lucrative still to be in the stock market, but as the election, the U.S. election comes around in November, probably sometime this summer, as the hype starts to build and all the arguing and whatnot kick in, you will find the market become a lot more turbulent, a lot more volatile. So that I think will happen for sure, especially for the U.S. So VWAP is something I'm looking at. I've already tested it. I've got it in my MotiveWave playlist. It seems to be a pretty decent strategy for something. The three that have come up is VWAP, linear regression, which I'm kind of using. What I'm really liking, and that's the basics of machine learning somewhat, and I'm using linear regression channels, which are pretty good. No different than a wedge or anything like that, or sorry, a channel CCI, and the other ones are are the trend following. So I've been doing that a lot. So the trend, I don't know if those are going to be useful when you look at something like the one I like that seems to be proving itself quite well is the Ichimoku Cloud, but it's whatever it's called in the world of Motowave, and that one's doing pretty good. It's just the exit, so the volatility stop combo looks pretty good. And again, that's just all visual, tweaking parameters in the study that you use in Motowave. So you can do a lot of these tweaks pretty quickly. VWAP has something similar. You might have to tailor it to be a study where it can generate signals and maybe turn it into a strategy of some kind. That shouldn't be that difficult as I get more comfortable in Motowave. So that's what I'm wanting to look more into is more mean reverting. The other one that I found for mean reverting is in Forex. I've got something that works pretty good is again, that's part of the older Python scripts I've been talking about. One for mean reverting is arbitrage. It seems to work pretty good for the ability to find short opportunities and long opportunities and arbitrage that and be able to, those opportunities don't, they can last maybe a day to a week from what I'm seeing or when I tested it. So there's all these different ideas I have in the can that develop, but I want to get them out and see to get them working and implemented, because everything's all about implementation over the next couple of weeks. Get the live trading really. I mean, there's no doubt that's something that's needed for sure, and everything's all set up for the verification in terms of crypto, the coin tracking and stuff. So it's time to get all that implemented. Also from a technology point of view, I forgot to mention Windows. The last couple of days actually I've been implementing with Redis. I'll be putting up a video even today about the benefits of the WSIL on Windows 10 with the Linux and being able to share the Linux resources on Windows out of box natively. That's a big deal. So you can use a more updated Redis. You can run Python scripts within a Linux terminal on Windows. So those are pretty big. That's a pretty big deal on with Motowave running on top of that as well. So those are something I'm going to put a video on, and it's just an option, because if you know, with Motowave I'm generating signals via email, so I can generate signal emails to another Python script that will then do the trading on Python regardless of what OS operating system like Linux or Windows now, and be able to execute the trades out of that. So there's lots of opportunities, not a lot of new stuff outside of machine learning really in MATLAB, but everything else is just going to be a hobnog of what I find in MATLAB, and tweaking this, tweaking that in Python from what I've done over the last year. So all the courses and all that will still be very, very useful for people that want to still pursue that stuff. All right, so that's pretty well it with the trading ideas and the goals for 2020. Other than that, we shall talk to you later. Thanks for watching. We shall talk to you later. Have a good day.